CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Now to the flu outbreak that is bringing North America to its knees, and if you have escaped the grip, you can consider yourself lucky, because in a single word, it is nasty. And the flu is so bad in Metro Vancouver right now that doctors in one area have declared it to be a public health hazard, and they're invoking special measures to try to keep it from spreading further. The Fraser Health Authority says there have been twice as many flu cases so far this winter on the Lower Mainland as in the last 3 years combined, and more than 3 times the number of people have died in residential care facilities. By declaring the flu outbreak a hazard, health authorities can impose extra restrictions to protect seniors. Anyone who visits a residential care or assisted living facility who has not had a flu shot will have to have a mask on and have to wash their hands.
We've declared a public health hazard with the extent of the influenza circulation. That enables us to take extra protective measures to protect the vulnerable in our institutions.
The Vancouver Island Health Authority, as we showed you last night, says that there are a lot of people on the island who are sick as well, but the island flu situation is not nearly as serious here as it is in the Fraser Health region. Northern Gateway pipeline hearings came to a temporary halt in Vancouver today when a group of protesters stormed into the meeting room. The National Energy Board was hearing submissions from people who were registered to speak. When the group burst in, police had to intervene and physically remove the protesters. More than 1,000 people staged a peaceful protest outside the Wall Centre as those hearings got underway last night.
We're disappointed. We're disappointed that these proceedings are intended to give voice to British Columbians, and that some individuals saw fit to interrupt that process. So we're disappointed by that.
The 5 protesters who disrupted the meeting were taken into custody and are facing charges of assault by trespass. Police say they'll continue to have a presence at the meetings, which are scheduled for 8 days in Vancouver. The final round of hearings will be in Prince Rupert next month. Well, the opening of trading this morning on the Toronto Stock Exchange was a milestone moment for Catalyst Paper. BC's opposition leader, NDP leader Adrian Dix, was on hand to ring the opening bell as Catalyst was relisted on the TSX.
3, 2, 1.
Catalyst has spent the last year narrowly avoiding bankruptcy and then restructuring in a court-ordered deal with its creditors. The company began trading publicly on January 7th. Catalyst employs hundreds of people at mills in Port Alberni, in Crofton, and in Powell River. The NDP says this revival gives their families and those communities a sense of security.
I talked to some people yesterday in Port Alberni, and they're excited at this prospect because it shows, again, it's another validation of the work that everyone in British Columbia did. It's an important British Columbia company, and the jobs obviously are crucially important, but also it's also a dynamic company that has proven with its partnerships with environmental groups and with communities that it's a modern dynamic company, and it's an exciting day.
Both Dix and the Premier were invited to today's TSX ceremony, but Christy Clark declined. Catalyst opened at $2 a share. Well, we want to take you to the world-famous Butchart Gardens. A section of them has been transformed, but this time it's more than just the flowers. Take a look. The Blue Poppy restaurant shut down last week and has now been converted to a lush indoor garden. The time-lapse video shows the work being completed over the past 7 days. The indoor space is now filled with spring flowers, as well as flowering trees, water features, and koi fish.
All the tables and chairs were in here, and within a week they've all been pulled out, and all of this material, which has been in greenhouses and elsewhere, that's been forced to think about coming into bloom, is now starting. So as people come here, they're going to find the daffodils, the tulips, the hyacinths, and all the smells of spring, and the sights of spring as well.
The Spring Prelude and Historical Display is open now and continues through the end of March. On the eve of White House action on guns, lawmakers in New York State have passed what some are calling the toughest gun control legislation ever in the United States. The law places strict limits on assault rifles and on high-capacity ammunition clips and requires stricter background checks. U.S. President Barack Obama is said to be reviewing his second-in-command's proposals on gun control. Vice President Joe Biden presented the results of his task force to the president yesterday. That report reportedly includes as many as 19 executive actions the president could take without getting congressional approval. Obama announces his plans tomorrow. The president ordered Biden to come up with proposals to curb gun violence in the aftermath of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting just over 1 month ago. Developing story in the Comox Valley. Emergency cruiser at the scene of what appears to be a head-on collision of a motorcycle and a truck in Courtenay. The accident happened at the intersection of 29th Street and Cliff Avenue. Traffic is being rerouted. Victim Services is also on the scene speaking with witnesses. CTV's Gord Kurbis is at the scene. He will have the latest and the outcome of this for us tonight with Cheryl Bloxham on CTV News tonight at 11. A couch in Valley Mountie will face charges after crashing his cruiser into a compact car last June. The police cruiser collided with the car on the Island Highway near Duncan. At the time, RCMP said the officer was responding to a call but did not say whether his lights and sirens were activated. A 23-year-old Duncan woman was driving the car. She and the officer were hurt but suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Saanich police investigated the case, and after handing over their findings, the Crown decided to lay criminal charges against the officer, including dangerous driving causing bodily harm.